Hey everyone, my name is JS Matthews and welcome back to Writing and Role-Playing. Today I have a fun new addition to my crafting center here. I actually went out and purchased an Anycubic Kobra Max FDM 3D printer. Now, I do already have a resin printer, and that's great for miniatures, which is something I really wanted to be able to do, is to print my own miniatures. But as I crafted terrain, I realized it'd be nice to be able to 3D print some terrain as well. And I've been a member of the Printing Goes Ever on Patreon for a little while now, so I've been printing the miniatures, but I also had these big boats and towers and all this stuff that's just kind of sitting there. And I realized, you know, why not save up the money and just buy an FDM printer so I can actually print some of this bigger stuff. And so that's what I did. And I ended up grabbing the Anycubic Kobra Max, got a used one from eBay, and it was, I think it was refurbished. I had to clean a little bit of it when I bought it, but really it actually came in pretty good working order. The first thing I decided to print was a little cottage, and I got this off of Thingiverse. I think it's called the Olvheim Cottage, and there's like a whole set of these, but I decided to start with a smaller one here, and I bumped it up to about 115%. I have seen these models before, and they tend to run a little smaller, around like 25 millimeters, and I was looking more for about 28 to 32 because I like using my Warhammer miniatures and stuff like that. So threw that in there, put it in the printer, and started it up, and I can tell you right now, this is a fantastic printer. It is so easy to use. All I did was hook it up, did the auto leveling, plugged in my, my little file that I had sliced up in Cura. That was the program I used. And yeah, it started up and it was great. Super easy. It was really cool seeing it come together. Now, I did slow down the print. I actually made it print a little bit slower, and I actually changed the thickness of the layers to be a bit smaller. I didn't want to have a lot of those lines, the oscillating lines that you get. I get some of them, but not too many. But yeah, it slowed it down a little bit, and it took about 3 days to print this up then. But again, I just kind of let it run in my office, played some video games, worked on, painting some miniatures, stuff like that, while it just kind of ran in the background. And the printer was, like I said, super easy to use and just great. And you can see the process here of it building up. You can also see in this picture a little bit of those oscillating lines on the flat portion of the roof there, but we'll look at those later. Here was the final product here. Man, it turned out great. I loved it. Super easy. And again, the model is great. I'll put a link to the description of the model I used, but there's quite a few of them on Thingiverse, and I really liked this one. I love how the top came off. I love the size of it. It was very easy to move around in the interior there. And I printed that door too. I ended up losing the door though. I have no idea where it went. I think I just dropped it on my floor somewhere. I'll find it in like the next year or so, But overall, I really liked it. I love the texture of it. The moment I saw this finished, I was like, that is going to be a blast to paint. And that was the next thing that was on my mind, was painting this guy up. But overall, the print went great. No problems. There is where you could see those oscillating lines, so you could see the difference between the layers. Not the biggest deal to me, to be honest. I really don't care about that. That you have to look real closely to notice it. Everything else really turned out great. There was a tiny bit of stringing on the chimney area or the fireplace, but it was very small. I just pulled on it and those little strings were gone, those little strands. And so I jumped straight into painting this bad boy. Now, I was going for a white stone look. I was thinking almost like Stormwind from World of Warcraft. And so I hit it with a linen color. It's a little bit of a cream to it, but I always like starting with a darker color like this. And then the dry brushing really adds to it, and you'll see that as we go along here. But again, just started with a little linen here, just a 99-cent bottle of paint from Hobby Lobby. They had them on sale, and I did, of course, the inside and the outside of those bricks. And yeah, really, really easy paint job to start off with. Next up, I decided to hit the roof there with a blue. Now, I started with a really bright blue, but I did not like that, so I actually went with a darker one. I realized, again, always start with some darker ones because you can always lighten it up via dry brushing. So start with a bit of a darker one, and again, if you need to lighten it up, throw a little paint on there and lighten it up. But I really like this kind of blue and white stone color. Again, I was going for like a World of Warcraft, almost Stormwind City look, and I really like the way they look together. I also painted the floor with a nice just chocolate brown that I added a bit of orange to. I almost always add a bit of orange to my browns, especially when I'm painting wood. It really makes it look a bit more rich, and especially if I'm not going for a super worn look, I'll add a little orange in there to make it look a little warm, and just kind of heat up that color a little bit. And it really helps. It really kind of brings things out. Here I am painting the beams on the top there. Again, pretty easy paint job. I wasn't trying to be super precise. I did go back through and touch it up a little bit there, but nothing major. Again, if you ever mess up, just grab that blue and cover it up again. And again, I used the same brown here. It was the same orangish brown. But you'll see me actually change those colors up a little bit as we go, because I think exterior wood is going to look a lot different than interior. It's going to be worn down a lot more. It's exposed to the weather. So you'll see me change up the dry brushing a bit between the interior and exterior wood. But for right now, we stuck with the same color and just kind of hit each of those beams. Pretty easy paint job. Again, this didn't take too long. It's pretty quick and very fun. You get to really see everything come together. Next up, I started dry brushing. Now, I just took a pure white and just started dry brushing those bricks, and you can really see now the depth of color that brings. You can really make white a very interesting color by dry brushing over the top of like a linen or a cream, right? Because it adds sort of the depth to the stone, because stones are not going to be a complete one color. If you look at rocks, they have a lot of shifting grays and browns and stuff. And with the white stone, I decided, you know, that hitting it with a white over that cream really helps to bring it out. I think I learned that when I tried it on the big Mage's Tower I built. So if you want to go watch that video, I used pretty much a very similar paint job to it. But yeah, pretty easy. Just dry brush white over the top of it and then hit it a little heavier in certain parts. Here I am adding a little more orange to that brown, and then I started hitting kind of like each one of the boards there, but I realized that was kind of just taking too long, so I just hit it with almost like a heavy dry brush. And again, you can kind of see I didn't hit the edges as much. I hit the center a lot, and that way it really kind of starts layering on the colors. You have darker edges and a brighter center because more people are going to be walking through the center of the room. Here I am kind of dry brushing those beams, and again, I kind of added a little more orange to it. I brightened it up a little bit before adding it on. Again, I want to differentiate the browns there. Here I am with a light blue, just again, another 99-cent paint bottle, and just dry brushing on that roof. This is where you really start to see that color pop and that texture pop. And I do a very light dry brushing, but again, one of the best things to do is to hit those areas differently. Not everything's going to wear the same. So you'll see I'll kind of hit some areas a little heavier, hit some areas a little lighter, and, you know, kind of, again, draw some attention to that texture and that color, but not doing it everywhere. You know, everything's going to be worn down a little different. Now I lightened up that brown a little bit here and started hitting those beams, and I'm going to use this almost the same color on the inside, but you're going to see I actually add a little bit of white to it, just to kind of brighten it up a little more. And I did the same thing here. You can see me building up those highlights. And then I start dry brushing the floor, and again, I try to focus on the center of the room rather than the corners and stuff, because people aren't going to be walking there. I really focus on that doorway, and again, it really adds a layer of realism to your paint job. And it can take a paint job from, hey, that looks good, to, whoa, that looks really good, with just a simple bit of technique and paying attention to where you're putting the paint. So here is the final shots here. I think it looked really good when it came out. I love that dry brushing on the rock, and I love the blue roof there. And man, it just really came together. And again, this is what made this printer worth buying, is being able to print something like this real quick and, you know, just paint it real quick, and it's already ready for the gaming table. I hit it with a little bit of varnish over the top to kind of make sure that paint job is going to stay there. But overall, I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. It was so simple, so easy, fast. And this one I ended up not keeping. I actually decided I want to sell it, and I sold it on eBay to kind of recoup some of the money I spent on the printer. And yeah, you could see here, these are the miniatures from Journeys in Middle-earth. And man, they fit perfectly with that doorway. They actually look to size, to scale. I really liked that. But a great model, great thing to paint, and the printer itself was awesome. I highly recommend, if you're doing terrain a lot, I would recommend you grabbing a 3D printer like this. I paid $265 for a printer that prints from 14 inches, and 18 inches high, so a really big print bed. And you can see here, it turned out great. And I'm excited to print some more stuff. I'm excited to do a few more videos on this. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying writing and role-playing. Sorry I haven't gotten up videos lately. Just been a bit busy. But yeah, especially when summer rolls around, I'll get some more. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, maybe even subscribe, and feel free to check out my other videos. Or if you want to support me and my channel, feel free to check out my books on Amazon. Anyways, hope you all have a great day. Thanks again for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next episode of Writing and Role-Playing. You guys take care.